In 1988, multiple people in Philadelphia suddenly die from severe hemorrhages, their brains disintegrating and causing massive blood loss. Police officer Thomas Lockhart, his partner Maddox, and his brother-in-law, Detective Holt, are assigned to investigate. Lockhart quickly notices a pattern. Each victim has identical puncture wounds on their neck. Toxicology reports reveal an unstable isotope was injected into their vertebrae. While investigating, Lockhart and Maddox find another victim who has survived the initial attack. Before succumbing to the same violent hemorrhaging, she manages to describe her assailant, a young black woman with a wounded hand. The officers track down the suspect and chase her into a subway station, where she overpowers Maddox. When Lockhart confronts her, she astounds him by revealing personal details about his life, including the fact that his wife is about to give birth that very day. Moments later, she eerily predicts her own death before a struggle ensues, ending with her being struck and killed by an oncoming train. The case is officially closed, though unsettling mysteries remain, such as the bullet found in her hand that came from a police revolver, despite no officers firing a single shot. That same night, Lockhart's wife dies during childbirth. 9 years later, in 1997, a new series of murders occur, mimicking the 1988 killings. Now a detective and raising his daughter Amy alone, Lockhart finds no clear connection between the victims. However, when he examines a set of keys recovered from the suspect in 1988, he makes a shocking discovery. The keys belong to an aircraft manufactured in 1996, 8 years after the suspect supposedly died. Security footage from the new murders reveals the same woman who was killed in 1988, but authorities dismiss it as a copycat. Physicist Naveen Rao proposes that this is evidence of time travel, but both Lockhart and Maddox reject the idea. After tracking the suspect to a private airfield, Lockhart is stunned to see that she is alive and hasn't aged a day. In a confrontation, she accidentally kills Maddox and takes Lockhart hostage. Again, she demonstrates inexplicable knowledge of his life and warns him to stop pursuing her. Before he can react, she vanishes without a trace. By 2006, Lockhart has become a private investigator, obsessed with solving the mystery. He is convinced that the case is connected to time travel and that Dr. Rao, who has now disappeared, holds the answers. His teenage daughter Amy lives with Holt, and their relationship has become strained due to Lockhart's growing obsession. Lockhart uncovers a previously unreported victim from the 1988 murders and visits his widow, Arlene, who reveals that her husband was involved in a white nationalist militia group. She provides Lockhart with a mailing list of people who had received her husband's extremist propaganda. To his shock, many of the addresses match those of the murder victims from both 1988 and 1997. Determined to prove his theory, Lockhart meets with Holt and suggests that the suspect is traveling backward in time, eliminating key figures linked to the rise of a violent militia group. Holt dismisses his claims and urges him to seek psychiatric help. Desperate, Lockhart steals Holt's badge and impersonates an officer to track down the ex-girlfriend of the militia leader. However, upon arriving at her home, he finds that she has already been killed by the suspect. Lockhart chases the suspect once again and manages to shoot her in the hand, confirming that she is the same woman from 1988. Before he can stop her, she activates a hidden time machine located in a sewer system near the beach and disappears. Holt arrests Lockhart at the scene while Dr. Rao watches from the shadows. As Lockhart is taken away, he insists that they need to wait another 9 years for her to resurface. In 2015, Lockhart returns to the same beach, waiting for the woman's reappearance. As he waits, he listens to a voicemail from Amy, urging him to be present for the birth of her child. Before he can act, he is abducted by Dr. Rao, who finally reveals the full truth. He admits that he developed the technology the woman has been using, an injection that can be remotely triggered across time to kill its victims. Though he initially had doubts, Rao now believes her mission is justified. She is targeting individuals whose future actions will lead to catastrophe. Still convinced that she must be stopped, Lockhart escapes Rao's grasp and rushes back to the beach. When he finally confronts the woman, she reveals something that shatters him. She is Rhea, Amy's newborn daughter, making her his own granddaughter. She presents Amy's charm bracelet, explaining that it belonged to her mother. Rhea explains that in 2042, a 27-year-old version of herself was persuaded by Lockhart to undertake this mission. The militia group she has been eliminating would have incited a massive terrorist attack in 2024, plunging the country into a devastating civil war that killed millions. With Rao's help, they identified key individuals responsible for triggering these events, and Ria was sent backward in time, appearing every 9 years to eliminate them before their influence could take root. Because she is traveling in reverse chronological order, her future actions have yet to occur from Lockhart's perspective, and her hand wound is fresh for him but not yet inflicted in her timeline. Devastated by the realization that he was the one who killed his own granddaughter in 1988, Lockhart pleads with Ria to find a way back to the future. She solemnly tells him that there is no return trip. She knew from the start that this mission was a one-way journey. With newfound understanding, Lockhart steps aside, allowing her to complete her mission. As she departs, she comforts him briefly, leaving behind the charm bracelet. In 2042, an aged Rao activates the injections, killing Ria's remaining targets and erasing her timeline from existence. A voiceover from Ria explains the significance of her actions. When she was a child, a man parked a van filled with explosives on a crowded city street and detonated it, killing 11,000 people. This attack set off a chain reaction that escalated into a brutal civil war, leaving the country in ruins. However, thanks to Rao's technology and Ria's sacrifice, the attack is prevented and the war never happens. Back in 2015, Lockhart finally arrives at the hospital, where he reunites with his family. Holding newborn Ria in his arms, he gently reassures her, just as he did with Amy years before, everything is going to be okay. As he looks down at her tiny wrist, he sees the charm bracelet, a symbol of the future she will never remember, but one he will never forget. Subscribe to our channel. It will motivate us to bring more movie recaps for you.